Hello folks, welcome to another Whiskey Colin episode here. We're continuing our garage series. I think this is the third one now that we shot here out in the garage. It's kind of a nice spot to shoot, I've been finding. It's fall right now, it's still a little cold outside at times, and it's kind of nice in here. You've got a nice heated garage here, so sort of enjoying that. So anyways, folks, I hope Saturday afternoon, I hope you've got a dram or two yourself. Today I was thinking of talking a little bit about Scotch, non-peated Scotch to be specific. So this is a bottle here, the Macallan Gold. Give you guys a look here. I've really enjoyed this bottle. I mean, one of the first Scotches I tried was the Macallan, I think 12 year. And I gotta admit, I kind of struggled through it a little bit. I had a bit of a hard time. There's just something about it. It was a little bit, I could taste a little bit weedy to me, and it had a little bit of an aftertaste I just didn't like. There's something about the Macallan 12 I wasn't really enjoying. But then I bought this Macallan Gold here, and man, this thing, I can barely stop drinking it. I start drinking it, it just goes down. I've gone through this bottle really quite quickly. And so yeah, let's take a look here and see what the bottle says. I'll give you guys a bit of a background on it. So it's a Highland single malt Scotch whiskey, and it's called Gold, like I showed you. It's double cask. It says matured exclusively in the perfectly balance of hand-picked sherry, seasoned American and European oak casks. It says natural color, product of Scotland, of course. It says here as well, the Macallan Double Cask Gold reveals the unrivaled commitment to the mastery of wood and spirit, for which the Macallan has been known since it was established in 1824. The perfect partnership of Oloroso sherry, seasoned American and European oak casks creates this burnished gold whiskey. Light citrus notes and boiled sweets rule the palate before giving way to cinnamon, ginger, and toasted apples. The Macallan Double Cask, okay, and then the rest is French. Sorry, so I was trying to read French. Here in Canada, we've got all the French labels and everything. So, but that's interesting here, saying cinnamon, ginger, and toasted apples, citrus notes, and boiled sweets. That's very interesting. So yeah, I'm gonna pour this here and we'll take a sip and I'll tell you what I'm tasting. Hope you've got some Scotch of your own. If you've got this one, please pour it and try it with me, and let me know what you think. And before we get into this one here, I might get this other one poured as well. The other one I was going to kind of compare it to or talk about as well is Deanston. Give you guys a look at this one too. This is also one I've enjoyed quite a bit. This is a Deanston 12 year, I believe. Where are we here? Make sure. Yeah, 12 years. It says, and it's interesting, the first Deanston I tried was a virgin oak, and I really liked it a lot. I've been finding this Deanston 12 year, I still like it for sure, no doubt, like it. But I don't think I like it quite as much as the virgin oak. So it'll be interesting, we'll take a taste of this as well. Maybe pour this one now and get it airing out as we try the Macallan here. There we go. So yeah, this Deanston's also it's a Highland single malt Scotch, non-peated as well. So I thought it'd be kind of an interesting comparison. And this is also Highland. Okay, so these are both Highland single malt Scotches. So yeah, let's give these kind of a compare and contrast, if you will. Why not? So yeah, okay, the Macallan Gold here. Let's. Oh yeah, so it's funny. I just had about a dram and a half of Woodford Reserve just an hour or two ago. So it's a bourbon, of course. So my palate, it's interesting. As soon as I smell this, it smells very different from what I was drinking before. It was just kind of clear the palate here a little bit then, and so right away when I smell this, I really apologize to some of my videos over time here. I don't know if there's a term for, particularly gated scotches, scotches that aren't peated, kind of a weedy smell, like wheat. I smell a wheat field, and I don't know if that's a good description or not. It's a good smell. I like it. And I'm sorry if there isn't a better description for that. It's just that's what comes to mind for me. And I'm definitely getting that quite strong here in the palate on the Macallan. And the funny thing is, usually I wouldn't maybe get that as strong, but I think maybe drinking a bourbon before, which is a very different smell and taste, that's coming out right now. Anyways, let's see what it tastes like. There's just, I actually kind of forget what I read on the label about what it's supposed to or what's in there. When I taste this, and that's good because I just want to sort of have the experience. When I taste this, the first half of the sip is very, very pleasant. Like it's just got a little bit of a sweet pleasantness to it that just relaxes you right into the sip right away. You just feel totally relaxed into it. Then it hits a little bit of a kind of a mid sip. There's a little bit of a punch up of, again, that weedy flavor, I would say. And then a nice little bump up, and then a nice smooth, a little bit of spice kicks in, and then it just kind of trails off into a nice finish. Not overly short finish, but not a super long finish, but just kind of a nice finish. And then you're just like, oh, that was good. You just want another sip, and you want another sip. That's what I thought about this bottle. I found myself, I'd pour myself a dram, and I'd be finished much quicker than I normally would. I'm like, oh, then I'd pour another one. Whoa, before I knew it, I'd have 3 drams in quick succession without barely realizing it, because it's so easy to drink and so enjoyable. So let's try it again. Yeah, so very similar second taste. I've obviously dissected this bottle a bit already. It's near the bottom of it, so I've got a pretty good feel for what I'm tasting, anyways, in this bottle. Yeah, it's just kind of like the way I described it in the first sip. And as you settle into it, it's just got a nice sweet, and I think it said appley. I'm going to double check that because you definitely have a hint of apple, I would say, in a very nice way that settles. Toasted apples, yeah, cinnamon, ginger. Okay, so that's a little bit of that spice, that ginger, and a little bit of citrus. Yeah, no, this is really, really, really nice. I'm actually really interested in trying more Macallan now. That first experience, I didn't love it of the 12, but now I want to try. Sorry, I haven't done a lot of research on this. I got to look into it. Some of the fun of it is just sort of walking to a store, seeing what's there. But I really want to check out the Macallan section a bit more. My general understanding is they have some more that are a bit more sherry cask finished, a little bit more. Very interested to see what that's going to taste like, because I do like that. I do like a bit of that sherry finish in scotches for sure. So hope you're enjoying a dram yourself. I'll have one more sip of this before we try the Deanston. Yeah. I just find with this one, the more you have it, the third sip, the fourth sip, the fifth sip, like I said, you just want to, you can drink it very quickly. So, you almost want to be a little careful. There was one night I remember I kind of was just doing some work in the basement, some computer work, for my job, and just doing a few things. And all of a sudden I had three drams. I'm like, oh, geez, like that went quick on a Tuesday night or whatever it was. So you almost got to be a little bit careful. It is only 40% though. But still, it's a really, really easy to drink. That's for sure. Nice looking, the Macallan, what a great looking bottle too, eh? Yeah, you know, yeah, great looking bottle. Okay, well, the Deanston, let's dig into the Deanston. The Deanston here, it's, give you guys another quick look at it. It's a nice looking bottle. I really like this bottle too. It's got a really nice kind of gold sort of mansion up top there at the very top of the Deanston wording there, which is really cool to look at. It's almost got a bit of a cool glittery element to it. So you're sitting there and drinking, you can just stare at this bottle for quite a while, I find. It's a nice looking bottle. So it's a Highland single malt, Deanston Mill, built on the river Tythe, I don't know if I'm saying that right, driven by water power, reestablished as Deanston Distillery. Then it says here, we have combined the very best ingredients from our local area using traditional methods to create a unique single malt whiskey that embodies our community spirit. So obviously a product of Scotland as well, as it's a Scotch, 46.3% alcohol. Let's see what else it says here. It says, open Deanston 12-year-old and envelop your senses with signature notes of heather honey, vanilla, creamy caramel, and sweet oak. Pour, sip, and savor the soft vanilla oak and subtle malt flavors. Then let the satisfyingly clean, dry finish wash over you as notes of honeyed fruit and gingerbread linger long on the palate. Okay. So I kind of like to read that quick. I almost, when I'm reading it out to you guys, I'm not really processing what I'm reading half the time, which is good, because then I'm going to take a sip, see what I'm tasting, and then I like to look back and say, okay, did I pick out some of those notes, or what am I tasting here a little bit, at least that they're saying. So yeah, if you guys have any Deanston, got any Deanston at home, you know, pause the video, grab one, pour it, and let me know what you think as you drink it with me here. So yeah, let's see what it smells like. Yeah, so this one, you know, it's funny. That's what I like to do, kind of two at a time sometimes in these videos, that contrast, you know. But before I do that, I'm just going to take a sip and clean my palate. So let's see here. Yes, like what I was about to say is, you know, on the nose, it's right away, it's sweeter than the Macallan for sure. It's got a real honey smell to it. Kind of a light honey, not a really strong honey, but kind of a nice light honey. And that's what I'm mostly picking up here. Maybe a little other bit of a spicy note as well. It's kind of pungent a little bit, or you know, kind of, you know, that's the alcohol, or you know, again, the Macallan was 40%. This is over 46%. So, but it's almost got a little bit, it's not just the alcohol, there's a little bit of a spice in the smell as well. Can't quite place it. If I had to guess, you know, maybe a ginger or something, a cinnamon, something like that. Anyways, let's see what it tastes like. Wow. Yeah. So the one thing about this one in particular, it's got a real spice to it. It's got some heat, and it's got kind of a tingly, spicy heat to it that kind of really jumps at you about a third to halfway through your sip, and just really just jumps on you. So you're fooled by the sweetness for a second, especially when you smell it. I think right when, you know, I'm going to see here again, but I think right at the beginning of the sip, there's a little bit of sweetness. You're okay, you're kind of settling into that, and then it goes pop, and it just pops you with some real nice spice and heat. And then that kind of almost disorients, is a bit disorientating through your sip. And then all of a sudden you kind of recover from that, so to speak, and come back and go, whoa, okay. And then there's a finish. I think the finish isn't super long. It's a little bit of a shorter finish, I would say. But let's see if that first impression was right with the second sip here. Yeah. No, I think I called it more or less right there. First third of the sip is sweet. Then there's sort of this just kind of a rambunctious sort of hit of just spice and heat that it takes over to the point where you kind of lose your senses a little bit in that moment. And it's not until that really kind of comes up and really dissipates, then the finish is still kind of happening, but then the finish just kind of settles down and goes from there. But again, not a super long finish, but you definitely get knocked a little bit sideways, which is really nice. Like, I almost find at least not that many non-peated scotches that I've tried have that kind of extra kick to them like this. And it's not an overly, I find some of the non-peated scotches are a little more of a fruity aftertone, in general terms, of a dried fruit, or that weedy kind of, that wheat kind of taste I was talking about earlier a little bit with Macallan. This doesn't have that. This doesn't, to me anyways, it doesn't have that weedy kind of punch to it. It doesn't really have the dried fruit punch to it as much either. I found the Deanston Virgin Oak did have a bit more of that. It had less spice, a little bit more of a kind of a delicious dry fruit flavor to it, and I really like that one. This one I find is a little bit more, doesn't have either of those too much, especially for a non-peated Scotch. And I apologize, I'm still fairly new with drinking whiskey. I've only been at it for about a year. So all the real kind of nuances of the different categories of Scotch, I'm still got a long way to go. I know there's all these, Speyside and Highlands and Lowlands and all these different kind of regions, which I still haven't really wrapped my brain around yet totally, in terms of tasting them all or really knowing what they are. For me, it's when I'm thinking of Scotch half the time, is it peated or non-peated? And I kind of have those two categories in my head almost. And so it's interesting because for me, this one stands out, the Deanston, as a little bit of a unique for ones I've tried that are non-peated Scotches. Even from the Deanston Virgin Oak, this is kind of stands out. And this is really nice. I mean, this has got kind of a, it's funny. I'm going to take another sip and I'm going to go back and read what the label said and think about what it's saying and sort of see if I've picked out any of the ones that they're suggesting here. Oh, that's got a pop to it. Oh, that's got a pop to it. Yeah, that's really nice. Oh, that is really nice. Okay, so I am going to, I watched back a few of my videos. I realized I say the word really a lot. So I'm going to try to stop saying really. I'm like, really, 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 really. So I'll try to stop doing that. Okay, what do we have here? So yeah. Heather honey, vanilla, creamy caramel. So okay, the honey and the caramel kind of is that sweetness that you're getting into it, a little bit more on the nose and the beginning of the sip, I find. And it's talking about subtle malt flavors here. It says clean, dry finish. I don't know if I'm getting so much of a dry finish. Well, maybe, but I wouldn't really think of that as much. But it says then let the satisfyingly clean, dry finish wash over you as notes of honeyed fruit and gingerbread linger long on the palate. So, I mean, I guess, gingerbread has certainly got that, ginger, that's where I guess some of that spice is coming from, I guess. Because you would think, it's talking here again, I'll read this again. Open Deanston 12-year-old and envelop your senses with signature notes of heather honey, vanilla, creamy caramel, and sweet oak. I don't really, embarrassed to say, I don't really know heather honey. I don't really know what heather is in terms of spice or flavor. So maybe that's something I'm not familiar with that's adding that punch. I really don't know. Vanilla usually is kind of moderate. It's funny, when I read this, I'm not really seeing anything that really explains to me that really, I get a really spicy, hot element to it. I mean, it's not overly, 46% isn't overly alcoholic, because sometimes that will kind of really push that hotness. So it's interesting to me. I mean, this is just very, very, it's very, very substantial when you drink it. You know you're drinking something. Yeah, that's really good. I mean, both of these here are excellent scotches to drink. If I was gonna try to rank the two, if I was forced to pick between one of the two, I'd probably pick the Macallan. Just a little easier to drink. Just the delicious factor. The Deanston, you're drinking something and it gives you that little push. But if you're really looking for a push, like a kind of a hot, heated spice, then I'd probably sometimes turn a little bit more to a bourbon, right, in general. Because certain bourbons really do that extremely well. And they probably do it a little bit better than this Deanston does. Whereas, the Deanston Virgin Oak was one of the best scotches I've tasted to date. I mean, so it's I really do like Deanston, but it's interesting how you're getting something a little bit different than you're expecting, and it's really good. But it's funny. This bottle's been here for a while, and then I slowly get down to it. But it's kind of sat here for a while, where that Deanston Virgin Oak moved really quickly off my shelf, I found. Whereas this Macallan really moves quickly off my shelf. So anyways, folks, hope you had a dram or two yourself while you're watching. Nice Saturday afternoon here. Hope you're relaxing on a Saturday as well. Sounds like the heater just kicked in here in the garage. Really enjoy shooting out here in the garage. We'll keep the series going. A little garage series. And hope you guys have a great rest of the weekend, everybody. Have a great rest of the weekend, everybody.